First of all, I would like to welcome the withdrawal agreement and the political declaration. I think that we can say easily today that both have been built around the principles of the European Union. And that means the integrity of the single market. That means the four freedoms who are underpinning this single market, and that means the ability, the capacity of the European Union to decide in an autonomous way. But I have to tell you, and I think it's important in this debate, that also two other elements have been taken into account. The first are naturally the positions, maybe I have to say the red lines, of the UK government following the decision to end the membership of the European Union. And then a second important point that underpins this agreement or these agreements, and that is something often underplayed and not fully understood, and that is the 1998 Good Friday Agreement. Though the European Union is in fact not a direct party in this, the 1998 agreement was only possible among EU member states, between EU member states. And it shows, in my opinion, that the European Union is about that, about reconciliation, about the end of violence, about peace. And the result of this, all this, is the withdrawal agreement, and I think the only and best agreement possible, considering these three elements that I have just described. And in achieving this, I would like to thank naturally and congratulate, it's not the first time that I'm doing this, Michel Barnier personally. He has done a tremendous job in close cooperation with the European Parliament and with the Brexit steering group, and that gives me also the possibility to also congratulate all the members of the Brexit steering group for the good cooperation beyond the lines of the political parties, and I think that it worked very well. Now the result, Michel, is an agreement that, in my opinion, does three things. The first is to minimize the disruption for both sides, in particular for the economy, and to allow for an orderly withdrawal and allow for a time frame between 2 and 4 years to conclude the negotiations on the future relationship. Second result is to avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland and to safeguard the Good Friday Agreement and to secure peace. And then third, and it will also, I think, and that was our first priority of the European Parliament, safeguard the rights of our citizens. And here the European Parliament has, I think, with the help and with the support of our negotiators, significantly improved the agreement and the text. And moreover, we are also committed, and I want to tell this today, that before we start the consent procedure in the European Parliament, we receive from our British counterparts the necessary guarantees that all these citizens' rights will be fully implemented. So I believe, dear colleagues, that this framework, withdrawal agreement and political declaration, provides for the possibility, I think, to establish in the future a really close relationship between the European Union and the United Kingdom. And the basis, therefore, as you have seen in the agreement, in the political declaration, is an association agreement, as the European Parliament has proposed from day one. And why an association agreement, on which also the British government has agreed? Well, it will be applicable once concluded in a provisional way, after the approval on the European level. And secondly, it will be ratified in one round of ratification by the member states. So to avoid, I should say, if I may so, the complexity of, for example, our relationship with Switzerland, what is based not on one association agreement, but on a patchwork of agreements. The Brexit steering group, along with the whole European Parliament chair, will further scrutinise the deal. the withdrawal agreement, the political declaration on the future relationship as part of the consent procedure. And the Parliament will, in this respect, look very careful into how the so-called joint committee will work. The joint committee, we want to ensure that the decisions...
Sorry, Mr Verhofstadt. Colleagues, I'm in the chair, so I will call time with due respect. So thank you for your guidance, but you would respect the chair, please. Mr Verhofstadt.
I'm in my last paragraphs, Chair. The Parliament will, in this respect, look very carefully into how the so-called joint committee will work. We want to ensure that the decisions that are taken by the joint committee are legitimate and, where it is necessary, require also the approval of the Parliament. And I hope that before we start the consent procedure, we can have an agreement with the Council. Let me be clear, and that's my end, there will be no winners in this. I think that the departure of the UK from the Union is a failure for everybody, for the UK and for the EU. Last Sunday, we have to tell that to our colleagues, was a sad day for both. So let us make the best of it in the knowledge that once there will be in the near future a new generation in Britain, I'm pretty sure about that, who will decide to come back into the great political European family. Thank you.